Welcome to educational Indiana coming out. Welcome to Educational Zip Ties with your hosts, Heather Mitchell, Kimberly Aceto Tanig, and me, show producer Joshua Hicks. Welcome to Educational Zip Ties. We are your hosts, Heather Mitchell.
Hey!
Kimberly Aceto Tanig.
That's me.
And show producer Joshua Hicks. We aim to set educators free. Sponsored by TCCA, the Technology and Curriculum Conference of Aldine, coming your way October 30th. Edu Heroes Assemble.
Hey.
So we have a date for TCCA. Just wanted to throw that out there so everybody knows that it will be the day before Halloween. We are working on some super cool little, Easter eggs, maybe. Since we're coming up on Easter, I'll use that term. Some little Easter eggs for a Halloween fun fest. Definitely with the superhero theme, we're talking about doing some contests, maybe with people who dress up.
That's fun.
Yeah, there'll be more information coming your way. And we thank our sponsor. Today on the hot seat, are students falling behind? We keep hearing that the pandemic and other factors are slowing our student learning, but are they? Then, of course, we have to discuss the statewide testing. Are we or aren't we? It kind of changes by the week. And finally, school schedules. Is it disruptive to have all of the variation we've witnessed recently? Half days, late starts, learning recovery days, full year schedules, innovative school schedules. What does all of this mean? And how does it impact the students? Let's move on to number one. Students are falling behind. Are they? We have an article here from the USA Today that we can share in the comments for you to take a look at down below. Kimberly, I'll go with you first since you're the first one on my screen. What do you think? With all of this, are they falling behind?
You know what? Some are and some aren't. Unfortunately, those ones that are at greater risk, it looks like those are the students who are falling behind. I do think that the discrepancy about access to online learning and how education has had to pivot has affected some more than others. Mm-hmm. And so the students who really haven't seen a change in their daily lives or their access or even their motivation, they're still showing success and growth. But again, our students that are typically at greater risk are the ones that I think are falling more behind.
Absolutely. I would have to agree. And I say that because you have those parents that are still going to be very involved, no matter if it's online, no matter if it's in person. Did you get your homework? Can I help you? The support is going to be the support, and they're going to make sure that kids are getting it done. Those students that, kind of lack that parental involvement, mm-hmm. They're just kind of doing whatever they want on the computers. They may log on, but they may fall asleep. You said I had to log on. I logged on, but, at the same time, but did you complete the work? The one thing that I really kind of wanted to highlight in that particular article was, the students, and they have voice in there. And I really like that. Many times students do not get to have that voice, and we don't get to hear it, not in that manner. So it was really enlightening for me because there's a actual article where the students are speaking to not really being able to process the information, but more or less a word that I would use is regurgitate. We get the information, we spit it out. We get the information, we spit it out. But in regards to retention, a few of the kids kind of spoke to that. And that's the thing that I think would be in comparison to some of the things that would happen even in the classroom. Well, you want to make the A, so I'm going to study, get the grade, and then it's gone. So I do think it's some kids, but not all.
I agree with that. I found it really interesting. The one young lady in the article that was referring to how she's learning or how she's taking on this learning, and the fact that in her online classes, the students aren't turning on their cameras, so she has no idea what her teacher or her students look like or classmates look like. And a lot of them instead of a group discussion where they can learn from one another, they're just private messaging the teacher answers and getting feedback direct. And so she's basically taking whatever the teacher puts in there and then rewording it. So the whole learning style has changed. And like you said, regurgitating, but really, what is she really processing the knowledge, and she's not motivated anymore? I can see where they just lack of or falling aside. And I've heard of other students, I don't want to say necessarily cheating going on, but like since they're online,
Yeah,
they're using other references,
absolutely.
or they're finding a lack of getting the instruction or the knowledge that they need from the teacher. So they're going out to other resources and utilizing that as supplementary. Yeah, it's just very different. And I like that the student was very honest
Oh yeah,
about moving forward with that and what it looks like.
Is that a
all of
bad
them.
thing, though, that they're going out, finding the answers to the questions, solving teachers' problems, doing the work, just not doing it in a traditional way? Is that necessarily a bad thing?
Ooh,
I
that's
don't
good.
find that to be a bad thing. I definitely think that when they go out and seek knowledge on their own, that they are going to retain it better. However, I don't know if teachers realize how much they some of the tools that they use in the classes. Let's say quizzes, for example. A student is studying for a chemistry test, and so they go and look up quizzes that they can access to find questions and answers, and they may be exactly the same as what the teacher is utilizing.
I would have to agree. I think the thing is that kids are able to for sure get the information that they're getting, and the only thing is the applied piece. I think that's where we're missing it. Is
Agreed.
the applied. So if you were able to take the virtual setting and allow the students to not only gain the information but apply it to something, maybe the retention would be a lot better. And that's the same thing that goes on in the brick and mortar setting.
Right. That's a component of the project-based learning, where they can take what they've known or learn and apply it to a project in a real world application.
And
Yeah.
so I'm going to get into, our social media memes and make a counterpoint. What about the teachers who say, don't worry about your kids falling behind, they'll bounce back? Are they going to be quick enough in recovery? Because everybody thinks they're going to be very elastic and they're just going to snap back into learning, and they're going to pick it up even quicker because of the change back to traditional? Or are they going to struggle when they come back?
I think initially there's going to be some struggle, and I think that we are going to have to look at how we approach them very differently. I think that learning is best when it's individualized and we meet them where they're at, and we're going to have to look at our curriculum, and we're definitely going to have to look at where they're at. Are they a year or two behind? If they're a year or two behind, then we're going to have to change our curriculum.
I would have to again agree, more or less, taking not just the curriculum, but I think most of the districts right now use some type of universal screener. Utilize that universal screener to see exactly where is it rating those students. Not only rating those students, but look at those focus skills. Are those focus skills really at grade level, or are those focus skills below grade level? And maybe even taking the time to look at 2 years previous. I think, in the summer, many teachers have a lot of work that they normally prepare in regards to getting their classroom and their themes on the elementary side. However, another thing that I think we need to look at is kind of pulling, the previous year or so curriculum and being able to, kind of look, and when the kids get back, be ready to assess them there. Start, low at a lower level, so you can gain a bigger understanding of exactly where they're at. So then you can begin to plan in that manner.
Yeah, I definitely think we are going to have to learn to modify so we can close some of those gaps.
Yep, a lot of small grouping going on.
Okay, so moving on, President Joseph Biden has announced that the White House believes that statewide testing should be undertaken this year, and the state of Texas agrees and has said that Students will be coming onto campus to take the STAR test. And then we've heard of all kinds of exceptions being made. And what are we doing? What are we not doing? Should we be taking the leap into statewide testing for a second year of this pandemic? Or is that something that we should just cancel?
It's funny you should say that. I think we need to. I absolutely think we need to do it. And we need to do it because not so much to ruffle feathers, but I think it's more so of an insight as to what group of students, what area of student demographics, school districts were able to still press forward in the midst of, and which districts were not. And I think that that would lend itself to funding, how money was spent. It would lend itself to a lot of really good evidence just in case, or better planning. So I think it's not so much as a I gotcha, or the students, or what, those students didn't learn in that district, but to take that information from those districts that were still yet able to have those successes and kind of see, apply those things to your, the other districts. I know most teachers be like, what? Have you lost your mind, girl? We don't want to take that. But
you have to look at it as
so.
no pressure testing.
Absolutely.
We are just getting a measurement. That is what assessment is. And it's how we drive our decision making. If you look at that data, you will see where our problems are. You have to know where the problem is to fix it. So we can look at that data and address, okay, we need to do this and we need to work with this population.
I would even say, I think it's going to help us too, even upper level district, in regards to, can we still just have one person writing a curriculum? Can we still just have, it being a few people? Maybe you need a team of people. Maybe when it comes to, and I'm speaking of RTI because it's intervention, maybe you need someone that's over math, somebody that's over science, someone that's strictly elementary, someone that's strictly middle school, so then we can really kind of bring in what's needed for those students and the teachers to be more effective in the classroom.
I like that you brought up the point that there's going to need to be maybe more people involved in the process of the curriculum, because I've also thought, I know they're very concerned about closing these gaps. And I think about the fact that districts right now are looking at budgets and costs and data, and we've lost students. Some students have just fallen off the map. We don't know where they've gone during COVID. And so that's going to put districts in a financial crisis. And we're looking to see where can we make up those needs. But going forward, if we want to address those needs, we're going to have to quote unquote, spend the money to supply those extra hands involved, because it's going to take more than just the one curriculum writer.
Hey, but speaking of that, we were granted, it's money coming. We don't know exactly how much per district, but, we're being granted a good little bit of money, so-called. We don't know exactly how our governor, our government in the state of Texas is going to disseminate the funds, but there's billions of dollars, being allocated. So how are we really going to effectively use that? Are we going to be able to use it how, the district sees fit, or will there be some governing on how those, funds need to be spent? That's something to think about.
And I think one thing that we haven't mentioned that's really important is this upcoming vote on a new infrastructure bill, because most of the stuff that everybody's talking about is getting the technology into the hands of the kids, but they're forgetting that a lot of students do not have access to the internet. And this infrastructure bill contains quite a bit of money for getting that high-speed internet to the masses. So I think that's going to be an important component of a bill that's not even related to the recent COVID relief bill. Let's go ahead and move to the third topic for the day, adjustable schedules. So in order to bridge this gap, a lot of discussion has been made about learning recovery days, stretching the schedule to make it longer with more vacation days in the middle, late start times, early start times, full year-round school. All these schedules of innovation is what they're being called. What do you think about that, ladies?
Well, I personally believe that we definitely have learned from this pandemic that the status quo of how we do school Monday through Friday, 7 to 4, whatever time is not necessarily the best method. And I think that the flexible schedules, we can work those to our advantage. I think a lot of people realize we could do a school week of Monday through Thursday, with Friday being an open day where we pull in those that need extra help or more planning so we can address those needs of the students, give more built-in planning time for those teachers.
There's some districts already, they kind of have that already built in their schedule. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I do believe that that adjusted schedule definitely does work. And right now, I would say it really makes a difference in regards to being able to teach the students. And even, let's say, if we allowed that flexible day, something that I know a district is doing right now, instead of having just 1 week of spring break, they've allowed that second week, and they're doing some innovative things during that time. So that would also help us, kind of close that gap as well with those, innovative times. Maybe the Monday through Wednesday, we know, it's direct teaching or what have you. And then those students that need those services could gain those services on, the Thursday and the Friday. I like
so to
it.
spin this out, one of the things that recently came to my attention was a couple of schools in Indiana that had the full year schedule, the 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. They've gone back to traditional because they were spending too much time recovering students after a 2-week break.
So maybe not do the 2 weeks. Maybe we could do it every 9 weeks, then off the 2 weeks, 9 weeks off the 2 weeks, So I think that, I'm just saying for us, maybe that would be more effective instead of because I think, 2 weeks too, I would probably be on vacation as well, mentally doing it that way. I think it's too
didn't
often.
Explain that well.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It was every 9 weeks. Then they would get 2 weeks off.
Oh, okay.
So they had a fall break, a Christmas break, a spring break, and a summer break.
So basically, they found that those 2 weeks was too long, and that they had too much of a slide, and so they spent too much of their 9-week teaching time recovering from those 2-week breaks. It's very interesting.
Correct.
Maybe if not that, maybe on the holidays that we do have, maybe we normally have 2 weeks for Christmas, maybe 2 weeks for, let's say, spring break, and then the 2 weeks in the summertime, and that's it. So then it's not all the way 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. I don't know, but I think the break is good. I do think the break is good.
I think one interesting thought with that is how much did they adjust their curriculum? When they went that year round, because I think in the situation, and Heather had mentioned this earlier about spiraling, they may have to not only change their days that they teach, the 9 weeks on, 2 weeks off, but maybe how they're approaching their curriculum so that there is more spiraling and review, so that maybe there isn't so much learning loss.
Yeah. Maybe allowing that focus time, or what you call as soon as they come in, the do now in the classroom, to be that spiraling piece that would help.
All righty, let's wrap it up for us. Heather.
So we have pretty much talked about the global pandemic affecting the failing of our students, but I think we were already behind the cusp. I think we can get them on in, and sliding right on into, of course, the state talking about testing. And we know that it's going to happen, but I think we need to just take it as a measurable tool, nothing more than that. And lastly, sliding right on into innovative days of learning, seeing exactly how that's going to pan out, if we would, kind of venture into that or not. I think there's some really great things there.
And Kimberly?
That was a very good wrap up. I hate to say wait and see attitude, but because we need to make a plan. We need to make a plan of action, but we all have to realize that, plans change and we have to adjust accordingly. And so moving forward, let's take that state test. Let's see where we're at, and then go forward and do what we can.
Thank you for joining me today. Question of the week is pens. Do you prefer a fine point, a gel, or a ballpoint?
I love my gel pens.
I just recently became a gel fan, only because they come in so many different cute colors. I like all the colors. That's just the truth. Love the colors.
Same. I always have my fun pens.
Yeah, if all free pens could be gel pens, I think we would be happy. Okay, thank you to our sponsor, TCCA, the biggest free curriculum conference in Texas, 11 years running. Edu Heroes Assemble. Find us at
Kimberly Aceto-Tannig at Aceto-Tannig.
And Heather Mitchell, you can find me at Heather MITCH_94.
and Joshua Hicks at JP Big Boy. Don't forget to keep up with TCCA news at tccaconference.com or on Twitter at TCCAconf. And thank you for joining us. We hope we'll be back in a couple more weeks. It looks like we've got a couple of topics about art coming up. So join us then.